Hey everyone, Christian here from CK Wraps. We're gonna wrap this fender right now. I'm gonna go beginning to end. We're gonna do it in Vivid XPO rose gold chrome. The rest of the car's going in rose gold chrome. This is a brand new, colors aren't not out yet, so it'll be out in a few months. What we're doing is the entire vehicle, and this is the 80% more clarity on this film. You'll see it as I install it. As far as workability goes, very similar to their previous versions of Chrome. So we're going to start by doing that. I've already wiped the surface area with isopropyl alcohol. I use 70% isopropyl alcohol. So I'll make sure to remove all contaminants, grease, wax, whatever, anything else that might be on there. I've also masked off any opposing edges. Front bumper's gone, as you can see, headlight's gone, so we can actually work around the front of the fender really easily. Something hanging off here. Okay, so everything's masked off. Every edge is wiped with isopropyl, including the surface. What we're going to do is we're going to apply tack reducer. So I'm going to show you how exactly to do that. So I'm going to take the tack reducer. It says tack reducer on it, pretty obvious. Take a clean rag. I've used this one several times, over and over, just totally fine because the surface is already clean. Get that out of the way, and so what we're going to do is we're going to apply this over most of the panel. Not all of it, but most of it. So we're going to take, I'm going to leave about 2 inches from the end, 1 to 2 inches from all ends. I won't even actually put it here because I actually want it to stick here really well as we come around and pull the material around, so we're gonna need more grab there. So I'm gonna take it, and I just do an outline actually first. So I do an outline, 1 to 2 inches from all the edges. I'll even come down here a bit. I won't go all the way down. There's gonna be a bit of tension here as well, so we're gonna need it to grab all the way up to that edge there. Perfect. And now finish off the inside. You can wipe this on however you like. Do not spray this on because it doesn't give you any control of where you're putting it. All right. I'm going to take this and put it away right now. So that needs to dry. Obviously we can't wrap with it wet, anything that's wet. Also, what I'm going to do is, there's a bit of a recess here, and I'm going to remove some of the tack reducer in this recess here. So I can do that by taking some isopropyl alcohol and just wiping off the spot. We don't really need it here. We won't need the tack reducer in this area because it's so vertical that the film is just going to be draping down. Where we're going to need it most is on the top. You don't really need it down here all that much. So I'm going to actually remove some of it. But I just wanted to give you an idea on the area where you're going to apply it on most panels. Door, don't really need it that much. It'll just help with your installation for the most part and cause less tack, especially installing in warm climates or in a hot shop. All right. So let's put this back out of the way. Now that I've done that, I'm going to make sure I have my 9mm blade, 30-degree blade, squeegee with a fresh buffer, wrap glove, magnets. I have 2 sitting on the wiper blade here, and a hard edge squeegee, which I probably won't really need. And we're going to start right now. Oops, right now. All right. So the piece is obviously pre-cut. And one more thing I forgot is that now that we've touched the surface area with a rag, we want to blow off any contaminants. So I have my compressor. Make sure that there's no debris or fluff or lint from the rag. All right, perfect. Take your piece of pre-cut film and position it. I have to close that door, it's really windy right now. Position that there and there. I'm just going to close this door 1 second. Okay, so this film comes with a protective cap on it. So we're going to need to remove that before we install any of it. You can leave it on for very flat areas. There isn't a lot on any vehicle that's that flat. You can do some of the hood in it with the cap on, and you can do some of the fender with the cap on, but eventually you're going to have to conform it. And the cap that I'm about to remove will limit on how much you can conform the material. As soon as you remove the cap, the material becomes at least 4 or 5 times easier to stretch even without any heat, and you'll see that as I go along. Okay. Next thing, we're going to cut out the excess. So fender's right there. Take my blade, cut out a bit of this excess. Being careful to watch where you're cutting. You can use a snitty, which I recommend if you're a beginner at this. And the way I'm going to install this panel is very similar to how I would install any other film. I'm going to be a little more gentle with this, of course, but I'm not going to use probably any heat at all. I might need a little bit. I wouldn't use any heat with any other film either. So let's get the protective cap off. That's it right there. You can just grab it from an edge. Stick that there. Again, making sure we have full coverage, top, bottom, all edges. Up there, we're good. Take the vacuum paper as usual. Remove this vacuum paper very carefully. With the chrome in particular, other films you'll be fine. I roll it off on an angle like that at first. Stick a bit of that to the door over on this side. I'm going to continue to remove the rest of the vacuum paper. And we can just let that drape there for a second. Be sure to get rid of this stuff, it's slippery. Okay, so now that we've done that, we need to glass this, obviously, for the most part. Chrome is a little bit different when it comes to glassing. Sometimes you're a bit limited on how much you can actually glass the film because you have to work with the chrome more than you work with a standard film. So this panel isn't very difficult. It could be for some. So I'm going to show you how to glass it. I'm going to generally get it where we need it. So generally somewhere around there. I'm going to stick the magnet back down on the hood side, not on the fender side. I'm going to take this here. And as you can see, we are creating glass. So again, magnet. Got more magnets here, one on the door. This area here is where most of our stretch is going to come from. What I want to do is get some of this down already right here. That'll do. You can pull up, as you can see the fingers, you can pull up. Those will go away. You might be asking if I should be using soap and water on the surface. So two things. This is a fresh buffer, and it's a monkey strip. They're fantastic. They don't tend to scratch the film. There's obviously a chance. If you use soap and water, you can reduce that chance. If there's no dust on the surface, there shouldn't be any scratching. So we removed the protective cap, and that protective cap, all the dust went with it. So you can see I'm just working the film upwards. That'll do. So now we have basically from here on to work the film. We need to contour around this flat part of the fender here and this curve over here. So this becomes a little bit more complex in this area over here as opposed to that area over there where everything's very much straight up and down. I have another magnet there for extra security, even though we've used the squeegee to squeegee some of that down just to make sure. So take your film and we're going to pull, and you're going to see how I pull this film. And I'm going to watch what these wrinkles are doing, what the fingers want to do. I'm pulling, see, now I'm pulling down a bit and up. What I want to do is fix this up a little bit here because these are so low, and this is a hard edge. So this hard edge right here is trapping air right now. So if I try to move this down, it's not going to work. I need to bring these fingers upwards. And this is where the tack reducer will help with repositioning. I'm going to actually go a little bit more. I need to bring it back off a bit and grab a little bit closer right now. And now you'll see how I'm pulling out with my arms right now. Okay? Cool. Hopefully you're understanding what I'm doing. Haven't even touched the heat gun yet. Probably won't even need to. I'm gonna fix this up here. I had a bit too much slack. So I'm pulling on the film. I should be using my wrap glove right now, it would help. So I have to be very careful because my fingers will actually stick to the film. All right, that's fine. We can take this and finish off the bottom or the top or wherever you want to work, but this is mostly as glossed as it'll get for chrome. If we were using a regular film, it would gloss a little bit easier. I can actually gloss this a little bit more if you'd like to see it. Okay. Cool. Here, again, get rid of that. Get rid of that. And let's pull down here. All right. Like I said, there is a bit of a recess here, and you can see that there's a bit of a bend in the shape. So I'm going to squeeze a bit of that out there, and we're going to take care of this guy right here. on an angle. So you see the hard edge here becomes less and less and less as we near the bottom. So we can start going over the entire fender at this point, from the edge to this edge. From here, this hard edge, we need to work down and then one up. So I'm going to take my squeegee, draw somewhat of a definitive line in a sense, and work this film towards the bottom edge from this hard edge down. Now we're going to go up. I'm going to go from here up, and then I can take the rest down afterwards. As you can see, the air release is fantastic. I'm going to have to lift this a little bit just to ensure that this bubble does come out. I can squeegee it for the most part, but I'm going to ensure that we don't wrinkle the film. Perfect. I can hold the film up now, and this will help with letting the air out even easier, and I can squeegee even faster. And for someone who's experienced, time has a lot to do with everything, so we want to make sure that we're being time efficient. When you're learning, there is no rush, but lifting the film up will let the air out a lot easier. So I put a relief cut right here just to go back to that, because I just did that without talking about it. The relief cut here, you saw the film drop, makes it very easy to finish off the top part of this fender right here. We're going to have to add another relief cut right about here. And we're at the edge. Perfect. Let's finish off all of this right here. So the important part about what I did with the fender here is that we have a horizontal surface and we have a vertical surface, and we have one that runs down on an angle. So we need to conform this film around the horizontal and the vertical surface before we even start to squeegee. If we don't do that, you're going to run into a lot of excess film and a lot of bunching up. So taking your film and conforming it and stretching it around panels like this will make your life a lot easier. Because it's flat on top here, this is where you can end up running into a problem. And I could have stretched it or conformed it a little bit better. I can work with this, it's fine. With any other film, you'll have a bit of an easier time as far as stretching it goes and conforming it than the chrome itself. Pull on it. Okay. So we haven't done this front area here yet. We have to squeegee the air out. If I'm in the way, sorry, but it just takes 2 seconds. Okay, we're good. The vinyl is now laid. Nothing else to do as far as laying the vinyl goes. Now we trim, we cut, we post heat, and make it look pretty. So I'm going to go right across this gap where the fender meets the hood. And I'm going to heat this just to even it out before I do any cutting across here, across the hood. And so I'm going to take my blade and run it on the hood side. I've masked it off with tape just for extra security. And I'm running it on the back of my blade on the side of the hood and not the fender. I'm running it straight down. I'm going to come right out. And I'm going to finish off this top, coming out towards that way because we have a corner here and we want to make the corner look nice. So when I come out with the corners, I come out the opposite direction of the corner. Again, these are techniques that I've come to learn over the years as far as experience goes. I do work with a lot of chrome, but that's not limited to just chrome as far as the installation goes. Chrome is just a little bit harder, that's all. So, from wherever you want to start, you can start. I like to get that piece done. I'll take the door piece off right now. I'm cutting on the door side again, not on the fender side. We're always running the back of our blade on the opposing panel. And I'm going to come straight down and finish off this little bottom piece right here. We're going to tuck it in before we cut. That way we have a nice clean line. We're going to take our blade and cut very carefully in the crevice of where we just put the film. If you have, I'm wrapping over a black car. If you happen to be wrapping over a white car, you may want to go in a little bit further just to make sure that there's no white showing. On a black car, there will never be any, if black's showing, no one's ever going to notice it. It's still in there, and I'm not worried about it, and the black will be hidden, but again, it's not a big problem if there's a little bit of black showing. If you have white or red underneath green or orange, you're going to see it. So I'm going to take the rest of this off right here. I left a little excess around here because I want to make this corner really nice. While I have you on this side, I'm going to finish off this side on where the headlight is, and then I'm going to bring the camera over to the other side. So I'm going to bring the camera over here right now so you can see a little bit better. And while I do that, I'm going to pop the hood of the car. Let's get the hood out of the way for now. So we've got a lot of excess film here right now. We're going to trim off a lot of excess film. But first I'm going to make this corner down here really nice. And the way that I'm going to do that is with chrome, I'm just going to stretch it a little bit around the corner. And this thing looks absolutely mint. No heat. You can do that with any film. What you should be doing, because, sorry, this is with chrome. What you should be doing with a standard finish film is pre-stretching it. So you'll take your pre-stretch, you'll stretch the film up and over, and then you put it around the corner, and then you heat it, and it'll shrink wrap itself to the corner. That is how you make these corners so pretty. I'm going to trim off the excess on the bottom. I'm leaving 1/8 of an inch. I'm not cutting on the paint. I'm just adding tension to the bottom here and using my finger as a guide on the edge. Knife work takes a lot of practice, so you'll get comfortable with that eventually. I want to make sure we're good, and we're good. We look good. So, again, I got rid of this piece over here, cutting down and away from that corner. That way I have a little bit excess to play around with this bottom corner over here. So, you can now trim up from about here, run the back of my blade on this edge. I'm using my finger as a guide, again, always. Using your finger as a guide is very important. It keeps you steady. And you're cut straight. Okay? I'm going to cut this piece out right now and do this corner here. This corner is actually a little bit more challenging than that one because if you look at the spread on this corner, this one's a lot more narrow. Same idea. I take the film and bend it down just a bit. This one will will need a bit of heat. To ensure that it doesn't lift, but that is how that goes. And that corner is very much perfect. There isn't anything that's wrong about that corner right there. I shouldn't say wrong, I shouldn't say poor craftsmanship or poor workmanship. Again, always using my finger as a guide. I'm going to finish off and cut off the excess film from the bottom side of the corner. Again, no heat. I'm going to post heat it. Of course, we're going to post heat all the edges as we always do. I'll post heat it right now. That way we can move on to this one up here by the window. Okay? Just a bit of a post heat. Nothing. You don't want to kill it. And go around the edge. Finish off all this on the bottom. Perfect. I need to cut out this little hole because the headlight sits in there. So, let's get rid of this piece. Again, I'm using very, very, very sharp blades. Which helps when it comes to this really fine stuff right here, making that look nice. So I will finish off actually the fender while we're kind of on this area. I'm going to trim off some excess film, just to alleviate the tension. Take the heat gun, we're going to need it. I'm going to, there's a little plastic piece here which I'm going to tuck some of the film into. Okay. But I want to get that out of the way so we can have less tension. Now again, I left a little excess film here so I can pull that corner and make it look pretty on the bottom. And when it comes down to it in the end, no one's really going to know that this is a wrap job. Unless you know that you can't paint a car that is in this color, or rose gold plate it for real, nobody's really going to know that this is a wrap. People are going to come at you and they're going to be like, nice paint job. And you know what the nice part about that is? That it's one of the most flattering things in the world when people tell you, nice paint job. Especially when you've done your own car yourself. And for the first little while, you'll be like, oh yeah, like thanks, like it's a wrap job, actually I did it. And they're like, wow, I never heard of that. And then you're gonna be like, well yeah, it's a new thing. And then that's just kind of where things start. If you're trying to get into this as a business for yourself, wrapping your own car is always great practice. Now, eventually over time, you're gonna get tired of telling people that it's a wrap job. And you're just gonna go with the flow and be like, oh yeah, thanks. But at first, you're gonna love it, and you're always gonna love it. It's very flattering, like I said. So, I just trimmed off the excess film on the inside here. I'm gonna post heat the edge. I'm going to tuck this little bit that I left here. Didn't need very much, just about 1/8 of an inch. Get that in there. All right. Let's move on to the top piece over here. I'm going to finish off the inner edge of the fender. And close the hood. I'll open this up afterwards so you can see. I don't need to open it up, but so you can, I'll show you everything afterwards when we're done here. So, I am using a jack to wheel my camera around, so that's what the noise is. This is completely in the raw, and I'm going to try and get this in a good position so you can see it. So over on this side here, we have a corner, we have a corner, and we have a corner. We have 3 corners in this area. There's so much tension here right now on the film that all I really need to do is push this in a bit, and we can lift it off the car to push it in. And that creates a nice round corner here and corner here when we're done, once we pull the rest around. It's just natural tension. Cutting in the recess, being very careful not to cut too deep and cut into the paint. I'm going to cut out here again because I want to use a little excess film to make this corner nice. But I needed to create less tension over here in order to fold the rest of this piece over. So I'm going to just take this, tuck a little more film in, bring this piece around, cut right down the middle here, and alleviate the tension between that corner and that corner there. Now, we can smooth it all out. I haven't even used any heat yet on that. I'm going to try and get a little closer here for you guys. I know it's a little bit difficult to see. All right. So I'm going to take this, pull down, take this piece over here and pull down as well. I'm going to trim off any excess using the back of my blade on the back of this edge. Of course, I'm going to post heat it. Just quickly with the heat gun. Okay. We're almost there. I have to open the door in order to do this corner. That would be that corner right there. That's why I left the excess there. I'm going to finish tucking in the bit that's there and cut off any extra. But we're around the opposite side right now, so we don't have to worry about any paint showing. It's a bit awkward because I'm trying to videotape this at the same time and it's a bit in my way. Okay. I'm just going to trim off the excess using my finger as a guide and pulling on the film. That way I'm not cutting on the paint. I'm going to heat that and use my fingers. I'm going to tuck the rest away. Finish off doing the door area, straight down, which is this inside part. I usually go over it with a bit of heat first, and then I'll gradually bring it in, not all the way. Go over it again with a bit of heat first, gradually bring it in, go over it with a little more heat, and probably finish it off right here. All right, we're going to post heat also. That's that. This panel is completely finished right now. So I'm going to show you up close. So there is a rubber seal that goes here, and it's going to sit and cover half of that. So you're not, what you just see right there is a little bit of wrinkles on the backside. That's acceptable because that is on the backside and it's going to be covered. Let's move around to this side over here so we can see what's going on. So if I smooth that out, which I haven't yet, obviously, you can see the corners look nice. There's no hazing in the film. So we didn't overstretch it, we didn't burn it. It's super reflective, very glossy, and the color is just gorgeous. So again, that corner there, very complex corner, a little more difficult than most. Look straight down the edge here. I see some excess film right here, which I need to trim off. And then it is a little bit wrinkly on the underside here, but again, I didn't really use any heat, right? So I just fixed it, but it's usually due, the wrinkles like that would be due to excess film, or you just didn't go over it thoroughly enough. You would never see that because that little bit of wrinkle that was there will be behind the headlight and the bumper. Like, these seams meet very tight. So sometimes they're too tight where they actually cause issues between rubbing. So you gotta also be wary of that. But yeah, that's generally what your corners should look like and how you would do them when using chrome. Nice clean cut all the way on the inside. I don't know if you can even see that. Nice round corner down there, and we're good. I'll give you a quick little tour of the car and how it's going. So bumper's still off, the hood's done. And this is what we're looking at right now as far as the rose gold chrome goes. So we've prepped this side, we're pretty much ready to go and finish it off, and then the front bumper, and then we're all done. Anyways, that is your in-depth